students YouTube channel The Economic IAS most welcome you. The Economica IAS most welcome you, and today, as I discussed priorly, we started 2021 Civil Service Mains exam paper 3rd GS Economy paper, and today our question is 11 question. As you can see, these questions, first you go through the questions. Do you agree that Indian economy has recently experienced U-shaped recovery? Give reasons in support your answer. The question is very simple. They are asking V-shaped recovery of Indian economy. Students, first you understand the content, then I will discuss the complete questions, structure of the questions, part of the questions, expansion area of the questions, and then conclusion. First you understand what is the meaning of V-shaped recovery. V-shaped recovery means what? Sometime, suppose we are representing here positive growth rate, negative. If our GDP growth rate is positive and if it is negative, then it will move downward. As you can see, after COVID-19, Government of India imposed the restrictions. During the Q1 2020, Q1 2020, 21, or you can say 2020, our GDP growth rate was negative. Our GDP during Q1 means April, May, June 2020, 21, our GDP growth rate was declined by 23.95%. 23.95%. What does it mean? That is the growth rate, negative growth rate were there. That is negative growth rate. 20, suppose this point is 23.95%, which decline up to that level. Again in the second quarter, Q2 of 2020-21, it was decline or improve. You can say decline only this 7.5%. It means this is the recovery of our GDP growth rate. This recovery, as you can see, show the U-shaped form of the recovery. That is the meaning of V-shaped recovery. Why it is so? Due to lockdown, all economic activities restricted. That is why suddenly our overall GDP growth rate decline in quarter first of 2020 by 23.95%. Again in quarter 2, it declined by only 7.5%. Means there is the improvement in our GDP growth rate. Again it became the positive. Again it became the positive growth rate. That is known as V-shaped recovery. Now you are clear about the concept of V-shaped recovery. Now, do you agree that the Indian economy has recently experienced V-shaped recovery? Give reasons in your support. Now the second question is, give reasons in your support. First you basically understand very simple point, what the meaning of V-shaped recovery. Now I will discuss the factors which are responsible for this recovery. As you know, after the lockdown, our government suddenly increased the public expenditure, and due to lack of employment opportunity, lack of income in the hand of people, suddenly aggregate demand decline. When the aggregate demand decline, our growth rate of GDP also decline suddenly. But again the government, what they do? First step taken by the government, public expenditure increased by the government 48.3%. If you consider capital expenditure under Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, I am giving you the crux of the questions. After then we can easily organize in our words these questions. capital expenditure increased by the government more than 250%. Our capital expenditure increased, that began to boost up the development of all our economy. As you can see, industrial sector growth rate became positive 4.5%. Industrial sector growth rate in 2020 was 4.5%. Agriculture sector growth rate, despite COVID lockdown is there, but agriculture sector performance is quite satisfactory and good, you can say. As you can see, food grain production increased from 120 to 140 million ton. 124 million ton. Pulses production also increased from 19 million ton to 24 million ton. Other crops production also increased, means industrial sector growth rate was better, agriculture sector growth rate was better. Similarly, trade and services in 2020-21 financial year, our import increased by 7.8%. Import, similarly, export also increased, means trade activity also began to reverse from negative to positive. All these factors were responsible for this kinds of recovery of V-shaped recovery in our economy. What is the fundamental factor? Tax exemptions, other booster program of the government of India were responsible for recovery of that kinds of growth rate in our economy. That is the area which you have to discuss under these questions, or you can say content of these questions. Now you have to organize your questions in 150 words. Similarly, you will classify these questions in three parts, that is introduction, expansion and conclusion. Introduction, expansion and conclusion. In your introduction, you will introduce conditions of the financial year 2019, 20, 21, 2020-21 and then 2021-22. This period, if you explain, your answer will completely explain the V-shaped recovery and factor responsible for this V-shaped recovery. And for the purpose, you have to introduce yourself. Due to lockdown, simple introduction should be there. Due to lockdown in our economy, all economic activities except agriculture activity restricted by the government. That is why suddenly our growth rate is declined. After then, due to taken the steps by the government, tax exemptions, more public expenditure, etc., that economy come out from the recessionary like conditions. This is your introduction. In expansion, you will explain the 3 points maximum, or you can take the 4 points according to your priority. What the point were there? First, you will say government V-shaped recovery. Meaning of V-shaped recovery. Second, factors responsible for V-shaped recovery. Then one by one you will explain. Say public expenditure program. Say second, Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Third, monetary policy. Fourth, agriculture. Fifth, trade policy. Sixth, service policy, etc. A number of points you can analyze under this topic, and you have to write these questions within the word limit, that is 25 words and 200 words. If you are going to write down the 4 para, then 50 words each para. That is sufficient for the explanation of this question. Now finally you will conclude, because of that kinds of policy all over sector of economy, it may be industrial sector, agriculture sector, our tertiary sector begin to improve, and they come out from the negative growth rate to positive consistently, which improve in the next coming financial year, that is 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24. As we know, the growth rate during 2020, 21 was not satisfactory, very less growth rate, but in 2021, 22, this growth rate was 7.7% roundabout. During 2022-23, it was round about 8.5%, and in 2023-24 expected to be 6.7% by some economists, 7% by RBI, 6.5% by International Monetary Fund. After explaining that kinds of phenomena, you will justify that in our economy V-shaped recovery is there after the lockdown, and we observe it, and factors are responsible, these factors, and finally you will conclude. Thank you, student. I complete these questions. Again I will meet you with next questions. For any query you can contact me on the mobile number 9999237051. You can also comment on the answer if you are not satisfied anywhere, and if you are needed any kind of further information regarding these questions. But if you do that kind of exercise, you will definitely achieve the best marks. Thank you.